going over some of the areas I've went through France years ago when I was in high school. After Nice, the next region we went to was just about west of here, and this is called the Provence region. It's very Mediterranean in terms of the climate, drier but still kind of warm slash I say temperate. It doesn't get like super hot. Let's say upper 90s humidity, but it'd be like usually in the 70s, 80s, low humidity, a little more arid. Just give you a sense of kind of this region. The airport I'm flying at, it actually looks like just a small airstrip, but it's near the town of Nimes, which is where we kind of stayed at, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we stayed in Nimes, and we also went through, I think we went through Arles down here. But what makes this region very, very cool that I love is it has a lot of Roman architecture and monuments still standing. So one thing I hope we may see, it's going to be a stretch. These towns actually have amphitheaters, these old Roman, they look like Roman Colosseums, but at a smaller scale. Instead of like being multiple stories high, it's like a couple stories high, but they're now used as like amphitheaters for various events and stuff. But they've been there for like 2,000 years, so it's very cool. It looks like in this update, it's actually right here. This is the first thing I'm going to visit. This is the Pont du Gard. That is a Roman aqueduct, so I'm really curious to see how that is. This is a palace, which I don't recall if I visited or not. I'm actually having a brain fart. I think Arles monuments we did see was just more Roman architecture stuff. Like this part of the trip was mostly about the Roman history in France, especially this region here of the Mediterranean during the height of their empire. I won't fly to Montpellier and so forth. I'm just going to focus mostly in this little region right here. So, all right, let's get started. But as saying, this actually ended up being probably one of my favorite spots in the trip. For one, I thought the air was just gorgeous. Very beautiful, very scenic. But nothing, like, say, crazy. It's not like it's super mountainous. It's not like you're in famous US. It's just overall like a nice, beautiful area. You have rolling hills. Just, it's kind of, it's not like super foresty per se, but it's got like some beautiful farms. And they're known to making a lot of rice down there, like risotto. It's technically not risotto rice. There's another name for it, but I'm having a brain fart what it is. No. Yeah, so it looks like I'm flying out of a dirt field. That's okay. Now, one thing I have to do, that's why we're using this plane. Alright, so what I need, the one thing I wish they did this in this game is I've been trying to, like, see, here we go. So, where we are, and this is going to just take me a minute here. So, what I usually do to find cities and stuff, I look at rivers or these roads, basically. Which is really asinine I have to do it like this, but it's the only way that works. Because I know Nimes had a river. Alright. Actually, no, it doesn't. It has a road, though. From the looks of it. Okay, so where we're going... So this is the river here. That is the Rhone River. The Pont du Gard would be right around this region, I believe. I don't know if it's off this one. I think it's off this one, actually. So we'll just go north. I just want to make sure we don't miss Nimes eventually, so I'm just trying to make sure I get our bearings. For some reason, I don't see these small rivers. Alright, well, let's just get started. We'll figure it out as we go. So we're going to keep this up over here. I don't think I've flown this plane before, so see how this goes. But here you go, now you're getting a sense of this area. I should say there are forests, but it's kind of, it's not super hilly, but it's got some, slopes and hills, so it's not like a mountainous region. It's just very beautiful. So here's our highways. What do we have to use? I said this is the first time I've flown this point, so we'll see how this goes. But anyway, we should be heading the right direction. I know, since I kept landmarks turned on, it should pop up with like a big circle eventually as we get close. But to give you a sense, let's start here. Just I'm pretty sure this is not Nimes. I can tell. Hold on, I'm looking. If I see an amphitheater, then maybe it is, but I don't think it is. And these towns aren't big. You know, where Nimes is, there's probably only like, I think what, 30 to 70,000, I think. Again, I'm basing this off recollection. We can look this up real quick. I don't crash the plane. Well, it's about 150,000 people, so a little bigger than I remember, but still not. You know, these aren't major cities. You know, like Nice was 1 million people. But these are just nice little mid-sized cities. You know, like usually about anywhere from 75 to about 200,000 people. Especially this part of the trip. So, like from your perspective, after Nice was like our first big city, most of the rest of the trip until Paris was definitely smaller cities. I think. Well, I take that back. I think we did. We go through Toulouse, which is a good sized city. That's where Airbus is located. But I don't know. I don't think we really stayed there though. Maybe we did for a night. Actually, we may have stayed there, but we spent most of our time in the countryside outside of Toulouse. But anyway, so we're gonna see if I can speed this up. There it is. Perfect. And the thing I'm trying to do best with this plane is not accidentally get into the overspeed here while still keeping a good speed altitude. So yes, the Pont du Gard's actually not off the Rhone. It was off this kind of smaller river here. We can see it's a lot of architecture around here, agriculture around here. I'm surprised how high this plane can get so quickly. This feels like someone playing Battlefield 1. Oh, look at that. We're starting to get a better sense. I'm gonna try my best to kill it. So I want to only be 1,500 to 2,000 feet roughly. Yeah, so we're getting really close. Yeah, the good news, a lot of this is one thing I loved about Paris. Actually, you see this around all of Europe. But everything's relatively close, you know. It's not like... Well, let me rephrase that. Obviously, you're coming from Paris, it's not. But it's just amazing how much, like, famous sites or history and so forth is all really close. Well, in the U.S., it's kind of like... You have that more out east, you know, or maybe areas like, let's say, Southern California, or, you know, maybe like in the city of Chicago. But you think about, like, you know, like, let's say our natural wonders here, you know, it's like, you know, then you have the Grand Canyon, but then it's like, okay, well, I gotta go, you know, Utah is not too far, but it's still like several hours, you know, a few hours away to get to the famous Red Rocks. Yellowstone's another 8 or 9 hours away. Here, it's like, you know, from here to, let's say, like, you know, to Italy, it's like just a couple hours, and you just, like, all of a sudden you're in the mountains again. You know, it's amazing just how everything is so, it feels like it's definitely a lot closer. And, like, here you can have all this Roman architecture, you know, all within, like, a couple hours, you know, like an hour-ish of, like, one of the main town centers. So it's like, yep, this is it. Yeah, this is the famous, I'm going to do a quick pause here. I just want to get closer. Alright, let's see if this won't crash the plane. Yeah, so there it is. Let's see if we can. Yeah, they did a good job. Yeah, see, this is the old Roman Aqueduct that goes through here. Obviously, it seems like the rest of it after that's pretty much gone now. There's just this part that's left. But it's been there for over 2,000 years. And it's just crazy to think about. And it's this kind of nice little river here. But, you know, it's not a big river by any means. You can tell it's a nice little sized river. But it's really beautiful. You can actually go down here and see it from above. And it's really hard to see in this game. But to put it in perspective, it's huge. Like, it's several stories tall. And they built this literally, you know, runs, you know, BC basically over 2,000 years ago. They were able to build this, you know, over this river. I mean, it's just incredible to think about. It really is. Okay, let me get back here. Oh, thank God. The game will actually crash if this thing goes out like crazy if you're not careful. Yeah, I mean, to me, this blew me away when I saw this. Like, I never thought I would ever see a Roman aqueduct intact, and there's one really in the southern France. And this is live weather, so it's a lot nicer today than it was yesterday in Nice when I recorded this. I'm gonna pull my map here. Start. Okay. Yeah, so over here, I'm gonna start following these rivers. Actually, I know we went through Arles too, and Arles is a really cool city. Again, not that big, probably another, you know, probably 100,000 people-ish, I would say. So we're gonna follow this. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the name so I get this right. So this is the Gardon River, and it leads into the Rhone River. And the Rhone River is massive. That goes all the way up north. So, but just again, it's a little hard because obviously this is the AI. But you kind of look at this, like look at the architecture. You know, it's similar to Italy. You know, very kind of tan, brownish. You know, and you see that throughout southern France. You know, really represents the Mediterranean climate. And again, that's and my point is like France is a very unique country, which in regards to its size, has a pretty diverse climate. You know, you go down southern France, it's very, you know, temperate, Mediterranean, nice. And you go up north to like Mont Saint Michel, which is off the English Channel. It's like Seattle, constantly rolling rains. You know, it's cool. It won't get super cold, but it's never like really gets that warm either. And then you go to like Paris, and then it's kind of like a seasonal. You know, you have 4 seasons there. You get warm and on in the summer, you know, nice falls and spring, you know, and some cold winters with some snow. And you see, it's very agricultural communities around here. Yeah, but over here's the Rhone. I mean, if we want, we could easily fly that from the south all the way up to northern France. I want to see. I think this goes. I know I got the Rhone here. I have a tab on the side, so I'm gonna screw up. That's what I'm doing. That's just crazy. All right. Another town here. This must be Mont, France. Again, a lot of these towns would be like we just drove through. You know, it was a bus tour. What is that? That looks like it's out of place. I always like it when you see the AI kind of screw up. I think somewhere in it's in Australia. It was like early on. There was a bug. Someone put like this. There's like. The AI created this 200-story tower. It was really ridiculous. not a bad little plane to fly. My favorite's probably the, I've done a lot of videos, is the double propeller, the blue plane. You know, it's you know, good speed, but it has really good control, which is why I like it. You know, with these smaller planes, you know, you always gotta be careful because you can turn them really easily, but then you lose control easily. Alright. So we should have a town up ahead. Beaucaire. Beaucaire. Apologize for mispronouncing this stuff. You see, this is the one that also kind of caught me with France, because you know there's just a lot of nice small towns, but yet they're very lively still. Like they'll have these centers of restaurants and outdoor dining and so forth, very nice. Which is kind of the sad thing with America, I would say, is that, you know, a lot of the small towns are kind of gone now. You know, they're there, but they're not really lively. You can tell they've lost people over the years, and it's just kind of, you know, it's a small, you know, it's kind of like a dying community. While here, it feels like, well, now they're not growing by any means, but there's life to it. It's kind of neat. It's like a little port here, it looks like. Well, not port. I'm not sure what they would call that. Now, this is not the town we want. We're coming up on that soon. We're just gonna hug this river. It's down here. So this is Beaucaire. The next one is Arles. That's the town we really want. Again, we're kind of looking here. Just a beautiful region. But anyway, but yeah, so kind of going back on this trip, especially this part, you know, as I said, this was mostly a lot of history, basically, especially with the Romans. And to me, it just really puts in perspective how massive their empire got. Now, I know they were in the UK as well, like London and so forth. But the one thing, though, it's like, there's not really much signs left of that. Like, I know there's like an area up north of England. It looks like it's like the remains of a wall that used to be part of the Roman Empire. You know, to keep the barbarians out back at the time. But you know, that's like, there's not much left there. Like it's there, so you know, in terms of history and stuff. But yet you go down to Provence region here, and a lot of it's still intact. You know, you have these old Colosseums, use the amphitheaters. They kept the aqueduct. You know, they kept some of the architecture. And it's nice to integrate into their, you know, modern French society, which, you know, kind of sadly has been lost in other parts of Europe. You know, Italy, obviously, that's a big part of their culture, so you saw a lot of that in terms of the Renaissance and so forth. So anyway, there's Arles up ahead. But anyway, so honestly, I always recommend, if you ever want to see some Roman art or architecture and history, yeah, I would obviously recommend parts of it like Rome and stuff, but you know, look at all the Provence region. There's a lot in this area. It's all beautiful. And best of all, you know, you don't need to spend a week and spend easily 2-3 days and see a lot of the major highlights of it. Let's try this in first person a bit. Oh, he is enclosed. He does have a goal. I thought it was outdoors. Yeah, here it is. So you see, it's not a big town, but we're going to see a bit in this area. And again, I got to be careful with the speeds here. Alright. So this is Arles. I think it's Arles. If it's Arles, I apologize. Anyway. Oh yeah, look at that. It's highlighting one of the amphitheaters, it looks like. That's what you can see. This is gonna be great. Almost maintain a really good, look at that. It's like the perfect place to pause. Oh yeah, look at that. They added this in here. You have no idea how happy to see this. I want to get as close as possible without crashing this plane. Now, alright, there we go. Do this again. Reset. So, might take a few seconds here, but yeah. So this is also in Nimes as well. But see this? They have these old amphitheaters. They're basically little Roman Colosseums, and now they're used for various shows and stuff. When I was there, and to be fair, this is back in '07, so you know the moods may have changed since then. They still had, you know, bullfighting in some of these arenas. You know, especially because like Southern France is very interesting in terms of their culture. Like it's a good mix of regions. You know, obviously you got the French influences, but then there's like you see some of the food in the region. It's very Italian or Spanish. You know, so definitely I would say more Mediterranean as well. Not like Greek Mediterranean, but more like the Italian, Spain Mediterranean. You know, risottos are really big here. And they did a really good job. Obviously this part is not realistic, but this is how it looked like. Yeah, see, they had some parts that cover up. You see, it's like a little miniature Colosseum. You know, it looks bigger in the. Let me put it this way: it's not small, but it's not the Roman Colosseum. The Roman Colosseum is a lot bigger than this. It's huge. But what's cool about these, they've been renovated, you know, restored, and are now utilized again. You know, so you can go in here and see shows and stuff, and you know they have the center part here. But and they've kept a lot. You know, they really restored to look like it used to back in the you know 2,000 years ago. But again, like this is still here. Obviously, this is all AI created, but similar concept. A lot of the buildings in the region, you can tell they've been there for years and stuff, and it's really cool. So, and that's kind of one reason why I really like this region. Plus, it was just cool to see these towns. It was so nice. I love about just Europe in general. It's so walkable. You know, I know we went. I don't think here. Yeah. I know we walked around town. We went over like a river, and it wasn't a big river, so I know it wasn't this. You know, but it was like it was just so pretty. You have trees over like looking the river and stuff, and it was very picturesque. All right, well let's reset. Back to external. So yeah, but yeah, this I was so glad they kept one. They have one of them in here. Nimes has one too, so that's what's crazy. You have like two of them all close to each other. Now, granted, back then though, you think about 2000 BC, it's like, well, to get between towns was just horse and stuff, so it took a lot longer. So it made more sense how all these towns, even though they're not big, had its own form of entertainment and shows and stuff. Which is another thing that, you know, in the U.S. you don't see as much. What's going on? Sorry, I was like losing my speed pretty bad. Yeah, there we go. I was saying, just put in perspective, you know, and you compare the U.S., it's like, okay, well, you know, you might see like minor league teams and stuff, but you think about like major league sports, they're all major league cities, you know. You might have some unique exceptions where like, you know, like Memphis is a good sized city, but they only have an NBA team. You don't have Major League Baseball, NFL. Well, NFL's in the region, it's not Memphis. So forth. But here, you know, it's like, I wouldn't say this so, but you know, like you look at Nice and Milan, they have like a major soccer team. And you see that in towns with like a couple 100,000 have like a major team. So I'm look at this. So this river. Yeah. Go northwest. I want to fly back to Nimes, which I should have a rough idea. So I'm looking at this river. It's gonna go. Yeah, we kind of just want to go in this direction. Shouldn't take too long. Probably a few more minutes. But yeah, it's kind of an overall. Again, I didn't want to make these videos drag down or too like. There's only so much I can say because one, it's been over a decade since I've been here, so obviously a lot of the stuff I'm talking about is based on my memory. Now, they've left a very good impression. You know, I remember these all these years later, but I don't remember every single detail. You know, I don't remember. You know, like the Pont du Gard. You know, I know some aspects that we talked about earlier, or these coliseums. You know, we just saw the amphitheater, I should say. And I can talk a little about that, but it's not like I know every single bit of history, like what year exactly it was built, how many renovations, when did these view of to preserve the history became common. And honestly, I didn't want to make it about that, you know. I kind of want to make it more about just kind of have some fun and just kind of show you, especially because, as I said, I kind of mentioned earlier in the video, you know, France I find is a very unique country for its size, how it's got a lot of different climates and cultures and stuff. And, you know, honestly, you could probably make an argument like that of a lot of parts of Europe, but I find France very unique because it's probably one of the few countries I can see. It's probably the only country I see where it's like touches like the English Channel to the Mediterranean. And with that, there's so much different history, climate, and culture, you know, in that stretch. And yet, it's you know, I think it's like the size of Texas is a comparison. Like it's not tiny, but you think about like the U.S. or Russia or China or some of these other countries. It's not massive, and yet there's so much packed in there, which is so cool. So yeah, we're gonna go over some farmland. I think that's Nimes up ahead, actually. I said all these towns, they're not far. They're pretty close. No, this is Bellegarde, and after Bellegarde should be Nimes. Yeah, that did seem a little early. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like this little thing here. This is Bellegarde, and after Bellegarde, Nimes should be over here. So. I do remember, so I will say this, and granted, this game can only do so much justice, what you think, but it's very pretty going through here. Yeah, it's farmland, but it's beautiful farmland. It's very green, you know. And granted, this is my first time overseas in Europe, you know, ever. So, you know, it was like all new to me, you know. Like, not just even being in this place, just to like overseas travel and seeing, you know, being around people that didn't speak English for once. Seeing different scenery and layouts I've never seen before, so you know it was breathtaking. I really like to have some beautiful weather here this afternoon over here. One thing I was interested in with this plane too is said the duration's only 2 hours, and we already lost 7% of our fuel. So it's definitely a gas guzzler, that's for sure. I was a little disappointed they didn't show any Nimes, because Nimes had some stuff like church, you know, like some famous, you know, beautiful churches and stuff. But again, I'm thinking about this update. You know, it's like, okay, we're going to do some of the Roman stuff, which is what they did, which I'm really glad they did, to be honest. But it's like, okay, well, what about churches? Like, well, we're going to have like 10,000 churches up north. Like, I will say this, it is very beautiful, but if you get tired of seeing churches, and then, yeah, you're gonna get bored of Europe after a little while, because they're everywhere. Now, likely, I like them for the architecture and stuff, and like, cause you'll have, you know, churches that vary from like Renaissance architecture to medieval architecture. It's just they're very beautiful that way. But as I said, it can get very. You start, you know, it's like you see a lot of them. It's just after a while you kind of get burned out. So. Yeah, I think we're not too far from the games. This again. Yeah, there's that. Airport. Is that what I took off at? There we go. How can I find this? Here. LFTW. FMT. Huh. Sorry, there's apparently some aerodrome around here, but yeah, I can't find it. Oh, that's why. It's in a weird spot. I hate that. So it's a Ryanair airport. No wonder the names doesn't make any sense. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? My bad. Oh, well, I may end this video here soon. There's only so much more I can talk about without boring everyone still hanging around. I was just trying to find. It's a little frustrating. I think I'll just go back to the little airstrip we were at. Oh, I could just land on the ground somewhere. Oh, well, I think I may just end it here. So anyway, oh wait, here we go. We'll end there. I know, we'll land this plane and we'll call it done. Well, anyway, I kind of hope you enjoyed this video. Just a little issue of the Provence region. Again, it's mostly about the Roman stuff. But it's very beautiful. I don't know if this video can do it justice as flight simulator. But it was very beautiful. I really liked the landscape. The people were really friendly and nice. The food was amazing. And I just love Roman history. So seeing all this architecture and stuff, the Colosseum, it was just breathtaking. Yeah, sorry. I can't figure out why the speed picks up and slows down, like here. I don't think this is Nimes. No. You can't see there's like a center here though. I think that, yeah, that's it. That's Nimes right there. Yeah, why not? Fly over it briefly. I'm really just trying to not. It's like, I will say this, it's like you want to get lower, and then you're afraid the speeds are going to get out of control. You know, because if that airspeed gets high, that means you sustain damage. Now, granted, I could always turn that off, but I never will see. Yeah, see, this is Nimes. There we go. This makes sense. Yeah, so where I took off looks at the east of this area. Gotcha. That makes sense. It's weird. I have Google Maps. It didn't show any rivers, and I swear to God there were like these little rivers in this area. Yeah, so Nimes is a good little sized city here. So, yeah, as it says, 150,000 people. And that said, they didn't put any marks here, but there's a Coliseum here as well. Thankfully, the Arles gives you an example. They're both very similar. Looks like they got a football stadium over here. Yeah, this is a good way to end it. Oh, wait. What's this? Yeah, so this is going to be all AI here. So, but it's a good way to take a look before we head over to that airstrip over there. Yeah, this is Nimes. I really like this city. It was very beautiful. Very peaceful. Ooh, I think I found it. Look at this. So thankfully they put the Arles one in. So, you know, we got at least a taste of it. But I can tell you up here, I am very positive this is their amphitheater / Coliseum. Obviously, from a realistic standpoint, I wish they included everything. But I get why they couldn't. You know, it's a lot of work. This is it, though. So this is their Coliseum. And you see similar kind of the town square, you know, old central area. Obviously, this is all AI created, but the building architecture, the building layout and color scheme did look like that. So yeah, so that was it. So yeah, good thing we went out of the way to Arles to see it. I think we may have saw both actually, but I think only one we had time to stand and take pictures of. We didn't go in it, unfortunately. I wasn't able to go any of them until I went to Rome by myself to the Coliseum. Worth it, by the way. So yeah, sorry kind of this video dragging out a little bit. I'm glad we did find Nimes. Again, it's a little frustrating. There's no marking, so it's like I'm really doing all this by looking at these maps and trying to figure out what the river is or something, or this landing strip, and using that as a base to get somewhere. So I mean that's just the unfortunate. But yeah, you get a sense of Nimes, so you can tell it's a nice sized little city. You know, not massive, but not small. You know, there's a lot of good restaurants, good ice cream. Obviously, you can find gelato stands down here. So, which I said is kind of that influence of kind of like the regionals. You know, it's not just it's not like it's Parisian food here. It's more like Mediterranean food with mix of Italy and their own take. I see these tracks, I'm like wondering what they are. I mean, I don't think it's horse racing by any means. Alright. Apparently there is a Nimes airport, but it's not here. It's a Ryanair airport, which means it's God knows where. What the name of it, because it's somewhat within an hour and a half drive, or whatever nonsense it is. And they do that a lot. I think I've talked about this before. Huh. That bridge is very detailed for an AI bridge. There we go. done a grass one on video before. Let's see how this goes. I better do this. Oh my god, I'm aerodynamic getting off this runway. Alright, we made it. We didn't crash out. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a little bit of the region as we enjoy these final shots on the ground. There's my grass detail. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good one.